Hi, welcome to Studio 14. I'm Ginny Sawyer, and with me today is Kate Kimball. She is a new public relations manager out at Police Services.
Hi.
So, Kate, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
How new are you?
Well, I've been in the position about 7 months now.
That's pretty new. I figure you have at least 2 years to say you're new.
Right. Yes, I've been doing that for a while. Huh?
That's great. So, people may not realize, I think, in general, that Police Services has their very own public relations manager. What are your roles? Why is it important? And what do you enjoy about it?
Well, a lot of agencies around the country, it's starting to become a little more visible that they've got public relations managers. Many have a PIO or public information officer who you'll see talking to the media. But as the climate has changed and as technology has changed, there's been a movement towards having public relations managers. So people who, like myself, manage social media, event coordination, in addition to things like the public information officer duties when there's a media event.
So the public information officer, that was probably a more traditional model. You're out there at some event and you're giving what facts you can in the moment.
That's right. So writing press releases, talking on camera at the scenes of incidents, that sort of thing. That was the PIO role.
So then what does the public relations piece bring to that role?
You know, it's more than just delivering the facts about an incident. It's kind of that day-to-day keeping in touch, bridging police work with community work. The police are out in the community all the time, but a lot of times you only see police news when it's related to an incident. So this is doing things like having a presence on social media as a department, planning events that police can attend. And we're doing a lot of those things already, and a lot of it is just bringing that to light.
So I like your Facebook page.
Thank you.
So I have done that, and I recommend others do that. I feel like it's fun to follow because really you get sort of this human side, I think, of officers, and whether it's you or whoever's doing it, but there's some humor thrown in. It just it makes the police force seem much more accessible.
You know, a lot of people see police as just a badge or uniform, and most people don't encounter police on a regular basis. And if they do, it's oftentimes in relation to a negative
not their
incident.
best day.
Exactly. The police show up a lot on the worst day. So I think it's important to understand that, you know, everybody who serves as a police officer or dispatcher or civilian employee, they're people. You know, they've got families and they're members of the community too. They live here, they play here, they work here, all those things just like their neighbors. And so I think, again, bridging that gap. A lot of it is bridging the gaps and showing the lighter side of things. And we see some really interesting, amusing, strange things on the job. So it's kind of fun when you can show people that little peek into behind the scenes.
Well, and that's what's been fun because a lot happens in a day with however many officers are out in a 24-hour period. And it's not just the car crash and it's not just my car was broken into. Right. What are some of the things you look for, the types of stories that you try to get those officers to tell so that you can share those?
Well, you know, anything involving animals is pretty much gold.
Oh, sure.
People love animals. We love animals. And so we've had a couple of times when people have found a lost dog and were able to reunite it with an owner. And there's some funny pictures, you know, the dog looking remorseful in the back of the cruiser. And a lot of those human interest features, so that those things that kind of make you feel good. There's always negative news. There's always going to be. And, you know, as much bad as we encounter, we also encounter a lot of good, a lot of people helping each other, people going out of their way to, you know, help another citizen or say nice things about an officer. And so bringing those positive stories to light has been important, and people really responded well to that. I mean, that's some of our most engaging posts on social media are the ones where there's a positive story. And then the news of the weird is always just entertaining or quirky, or things like, you know, we had an incident a couple months ago where a large stuffed fish was stolen from Fuzzy's Tacos.
Yes.
And, you know, we have a picture of the fish that was recovered on the side of the cruiser. And there was it's just one of those, you know, there's a story here.
That was a great one. And was that totally your idea to write the report in fish puns?
Yeah,
as you went?
I have
that was brilliant.
a weak spot for cheesy puns. And so, but there's been a lot of agencies around the country who have taken that humor and again, use that to humanize police and to show the kind of funny things that happen behind the scenes. So it's definitely been a movement, I think, in the industry of policing and law enforcement to bring the lighter side up.
Well, and I think, let's be honest, on the national scale, there's a lot of negative sentiment and really hard times going on between communities and police forces. I think we're fortunate here that we haven't seen that to that degree, but we're probably always just one incident away from something that could taint, I
Sure.
guess, and say that. Have you found that our officers in our department has been very receptive to getting out there more and more?
Yeah, I mean, they already have a really fantastic relationship with the community. We're very lucky, and that goes both ways. The community I think, has a good relationship with the police and vice versa, but that comes through years of concerted effort and training and just the culture of the organization and the expectations of the community. I think social media and then some of our other outreach efforts, you have to continue to build that trust. It's not something where, okay, the community trusts the police and the police get along with the community and then you can leave it at that. It's a daily...
Yeah, it's not an end game.
Exactly. It's a daily effort, and I think that bringing people together through those stories and showing the good and the bad really does help to build that trust up.
And we do pride ourselves on being pretty transparent. So you mentioned the good and the bad.
Right.
So that, you're right, you have to do both sides to share within there. What are some of how long have you been in public relations?
Well, I've done a number of things. I worked in journalism in college, and then marketing after that, and a creative department prior to this. My husband was a police officer for 10 years, and
okay.
I had that law enforcement connection personally, and so this all kind of came together in a really good mix of being able to tell that story in a way that focuses on, kind of the journalism roots, but then also a little bit the marketing, not in a disingenuous way, but to you gotta to show people what's there and the
To
good
tell
and
a
the
story
bad.
and use the
Exactly.
tools. So how have you seen the landscape of communication and storytelling change just in your time in the profession?
Early on, pre-social media, I say early on, it hasn't been that long, but pre-social media, there weren't as many channels to reach large audiences. Newspapers and other news media have always been a source that people go to get information about everything that's going on in their community.
Right.
But that's just one source, and if you don't have a good relationship with your local media, which fortunately we do, but that's not always the case in every market or situation, then that's only one perspective that is controlling the narrative. Obviously you've got word of mouth and those sort of, hey, I talked to a police officer yesterday, but again, that may have been on someone's worst day, and so
Right.
that message and that narrative is being shaped by a small range of people or sources. And so social media and digital technology has really opened up that information stream, and that comes with its pros and its cons, but you're able to reach a larger audience and to just contribute to the narrative, not necessarily control it, but contribute, hey, here's what's going on that you may not be seeing elsewhere.
So we have a City of Fort Collins Police Services Facebook page. I'm assuming there's some Twitter bit, and if people wanted to follow.
So on Twitter, our handle is FC Police.
FC
Try to
Police.
keep it simple, and that's a great place to go for breaking news. So if something's going on and you're wondering, hey, what's going on over here?
This
It seems like there's
intersection's all blown up.
Exactly.
What's up? Okay.
You can go there. You can also message us on there and say, hey, what's going on here? And if we haven't posted about it, that'd be a good clue that, hey, people are wondering what's going on, and we can get some information out through those channels. And the media relies on the Twitter account as well to get some of that breaking information.
And who within police services can post on that? Is that all you, or do you guys share that responsibility a bit?
We have a media team, so we have several people who serve in both the largely the PIO, public information capacity, and we try to have people on call so that at any hour of the day, if there's a really major incident, we're responsive either on the scene or to media through different communication channels.
You might want to take a vacation sometime.
Right, sometime. Not so far, but it's been a lot of fun.
So Facebook, Twitter, what else?
So we are on Instagram.
Fun. Okay.
And that's been a lot of fun. Again, different ways to tell the story, and people just really react strongly to some of those visual images, and there's a lot of story that you can tell with that. And so we've got some fun stuff on there. We also have our canine unit has a Twitter account, since maybe not, or I'm sorry, not Twitter, an Instagram. Maybe not everybody wants to just see dogs all the time, but if you do on Instagram, it's FC Police Canine.
FC Police Canine.
Yes.
I'm signing up as soon as the show's over.
It's always entertaining, and the dogs they're very talented, and it's just neat to see. We've also got a Snapchat account, which is something fairly new that we're doing, just to try to reach, a lot of people are on Snapchat, and so we want to go where people are, and a lot of it's fun stuff, some of it's informative, and that's growing.
Right.
And then we are also on Periscope, so occasionally if we have a press conference or Read Across America Day when we were in elementary school, we showed one of our officers reading.
Those photos.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss, and so you can follow along on a live stream, but that'll be announced through Twitter. If you follow us there, you'll be able to find the Periscope.
So are a lot of those photos even just our patrol officers that are out?
Yeah.
starting to use their phones a little more in their cameras and okay.
Yeah, a lot of it is just getting people to think about, they're busy and their primary objective is, to respond to those calls for service and to meet the community safety needs. And so if they have time or they think of it, then sending
Right.
those photos to me, they started to come in a little bit more and share those stories.
That is pretty fun. So what other, so that's sort of the media realm. What about some face-to-face stuff? What kind of community engagement is coming out of police services?
Well, the nice thing is we've got 200 plus officers on the street engaging with the community on a regular basis. That's
True.
their full-time job.
Right.
So we've also tried to do things like Coffee with a Cop. And so that's a new program this year that we're doing it monthly at different coffee shops around town. And it's really just a casual, it's about a 2-hour block time when we show up. We've talked to the business owners and they say, sure, you're welcome to come hang out here for 2 hours.
Oh,
We buy
okay.
the coffee and then just chat with whoever's there. So people can come specifically for it. If they haven't and they happen to be there, we'll talk to them too. And that's just a way to kind of break down those barriers because, again, most people don't see police on a regular basis and they feel maybe intimidated by going up and asking a question that they've always
Right.
wanted to know the answer to. So this is a good, really casual environment for people just to sit back and drink coffee together.
And
chat.
they're 2 officers, they're 10 officers, they're
It varies.
chiefs there.
The chief's there usually,
Okay.
and some of our deputy chiefs. And then if we have some patrol officers are available, some of our neighborhood enforcement team officers will
okay,
come
good.
by. So it varies depending on the needs, but we'll always have a couple. And we've partnered with CSU at our last one. One of their lieutenants came over
that's a
since it
good
was near
idea.
campus. So we'd like to do more of those
Right.
with CSU in the future, just again to give people a chance to just come say hi, ask
Okay.
questions.
Is there one we should plug here?
Yes. Our next one is April 26th, and it's going to be at Fort Collins Coffee House on South Mason, and we'll have information about that on our social media pages
Okay.
probably about the week prior to the event.
All right, perfect. And then I know in my neighborhood a while back, we just sort of had a neighborhood police came and sort of they'd run some reports for our area and just engaged our neighborhood generally. Are those still happening?
Yes, so we plan. I've been planning some of those and trying to look at areas where maybe we haven't had a meeting recently, but people are always welcome. Whether it's a neighborhood group or we recently had someone from a toddler group say, "Hey, I'm a mom in a
fun.
toddler group, and we want to talk to the kids about stranger danger. Do you have anyone who can come out and do that?" We're always available to do that, so people can contact me directly.
Okay,
and we
super.
can get that. They can contact us through social media because I run that, so I can get that message.
You'll see those requests coming
Exactly,
through on
and
there.
we are always happy to hold those meetings. If HOAs want to have just a little bit of a safety moment or small presentation, we can tailor that to whatever needs they have.
Right. So on the just general putting on more of your sort of law enforcement side, what are the messages that are consistent? Like the thing people should always know X, Y, Z. If you had that moment to share.
A perennial issue is locked vehicles. Always lock your vehicle. This is a safe town and it feels like a safe town, but that doesn't mean that it's okay to just leave your vehicles unlocked or leave valuables in plain sight, because that just becomes a really easy target for thieves. So if I had one piece of advice, it would be to always lock your vehicle. Don't leave keys inside. Don't put keys like in the places where you think
really
they're not
obvious.
visible, but it's the glove box or it's the little
Throw
key
'em on the
box.
floor.
Exactly. And even some of those hide a key boxes, if it's right where you think it would be, then that's not really useful. So always lock your vehicle.
So those car trespass, is that one of our highest sort of incidents?
Yeah, we see a lot of those. We saw a huge spike last year, and it's such a crime of opportunity. We could reduce an enormous amount of that just by that preventative, really simple action of lock it up.
Okay.
Even in your driveway. And we don't want to think about, oh, there's people in my neighborhood who are out to get me, and that's typically not the case. But there are times where there's one person who's walked along an area, and we see 8, 10 trespasses in the same area, and it's just people trying handles.
As they go. I've always said it's fine until it's not.
Exactly. And again, it is a safe community,
Right.
but there's opportunists everywhere. There's crime everywhere, even in safe cities. So it's important just to be aware and take
Yeah.
those preventative steps. Locking your house is another one. You can just very easily prevent an easy entry with that.
I've heard, this has come through just city channels frequently, the phone scam things.
Yes.
So that's that's happening?
That's an ongoing issue. It's not just here, it's nationwide.
Okay.
People will get a phone call. Sometimes it's somebody saying they're with law enforcement. Sometimes it's someone saying they're from the IRS and they, someone hasn't paid their taxes and they have to give the money right now over the phone, or they need to send them money, otherwise they're going to be arrested, or there's going to be a warrant for their arrest. And these people are really convincing. And it's not just, populations like the elderly populations or things that are being targeted. I've had friends who are in their 20s and 30s who have said, yeah, it was really convincing, and I thought that something bad was going to happen, so they'll go to the store and they'll buy a gift card or a money card, that sort of thing, and just don't do it. We will never call and demand money on the spot over the phone. The IRS, no other government agencies, the utilities,
no one calls to tell you you're going to be arrested.
Exactly, if you don't take an action right then and provide them with money or a bank account number. So the best bet is always in those situations, hang up and just don't give them the information. If someone's harassing you, you can contact us, but the Federal Trade Commission's website has a spot where you can log those complaints, because that's really the agency that can address those. If you have been a victim, you did provide money, you can come contact us, but there's, in a lot of cases, not much that we can do because that number is untraceable. It's somebody, in a different state or a different country who's making those calls.
Darn bad people.
I know. They're everywhere. It's unfortunate, but prevention goes a long way.
Wow.
And listen to your gut. I mean, that's probably the number one piece, is trust your instinct. Don't minimize or feel guilty about, I shouldn't be feeling this way. If you have a sense about a suspicious person, or a call just doesn't seem right, or some circumstance, always listen to your gut. It's there for a reason, and it's usually right.
Perfect. Well, Kate, we're happy you're here. City of Fort Collins, lucky to have you. Just one more time for people. So you've got a robust website, fcgov.com/police on our screen, Facebook account people can join, Twitter accounts people can join, Instagram, particularly the Canine Unit, not to diss the other one, but just fun stuff, and the coffee talks, so please join. Yeah,
we'd love to hear from folks, and if they have other ideas or places where they want to engage, we're so open to that, and our officers and dispatchers and the rest of our team is as well. We're excited to be here, and we're members of the community too, so we want to connect with people in meaningful ways.
That's great. Well, welcome, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
That wraps it up for today. Thanks for joining us at Studio 14, and lock your doors and check out the social media accounts.